Hi, I'm Greg Kilstrom, host of the Agile brand, and here's a question for you. What happens to a brand when the story it tells about AI moves faster than the results it can actually show? Agility isn't about telling that story faster, it's about being able to change what you say repeatedly as the technology changes without losing the thread of what your company is actually for. Today, we're going to talk about the widening gap between AI ambition and business reality and what that means for enterprise marketing leaders. Specifically, we're going to cover the shift from selling an AI vision to proving tangible value, how AI is pushing marketing into closer alignment with product and revenue, and what it takes to build trust inside the company and out when the outputs of AI systems are hard to explain.
Welcome to Season 8 of the Agile Brand Podcast. This season, we're going all in on expert mode MarTech, AI, and customer experience, talking with the people and platforms behind the brands you know and love. Again, I'm your host, Greg Kilstrom, and I help Fortune 1000 companies make sense of MarTech, AI, and marketing ops. Hit subscribe or follow to make sure you always get the latest episodes, and leave us a rating so others can find us as well. And make sure you check out our sponsor, TechSystems, an industry leader in full-stack technology services, talent services, and real-world adoption. For more information, go to techsystems.com. Now let's dive in.
To help me discuss this topic, I'd like to welcome Mark Abramowitz, Chief Marketing Officer at Dataiku. So before we dive in, why don't you give a little background on yourself and Dataiku?
Sure. So Mark Abramowitz, I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Dataiku. I've now been here for almost a year, so not new anymore. And quick background on me, I've been in enterprise software for more years than I can count for the most part. I was at Salesforce early on when cloud was still new. I was at ServiceNow for a number of years, leading product marketing during the workflow transformation that was going on, as well as when ChatGPT hit. It was like the pinnacle of the product marketing opportunity of faster innovation to take to market, more launches, more positioning, more messaging, more sales enablement. And I got a great experience. And then I decided, I've been working at two of the largest software companies in growth modes for a long time. And I'm going to go take the things that I've learned and the relationships that I've built and go try and be a chief marketing officer. And so Dataiku is the platform for AI success. We are an orchestration layer that sits above your data platforms, your language models, and we are deliver and bring together your people, which are technical builders and non-technical builders. We orchestrate all of the complexity that is in a large regulated industry, which is who we serve. So again, your data platforms, your language models, on-prem as well as in the cloud, and pull that together with built-in governance. So when you build an agent or a agentic workflow or a data pipeline, you can trust it because from the ground up, we've got the workflow and the lineage and the visibility to be able to answer the questions on how a model, whatever model or type it was, actually made a question. And so we serve some of the largest organizations in the world, 1 in 4 of the Fortune 500. So companies like LVMH, like Johnson and Johnson, like Pfizer, like SoftBank. SoftBank is a great example. We've really helped them on a CRM use case, which was really cool to give their sellers thousands of hours back from having to enter data, as well as bring like call notes and meeting notes together. So we gave them a sort of a chat interface to it and are saving them thousands of hours and letting them go sell more. And the opportunity at Dataiku is to deliver or to help our customers be successful with AI.
Awesome. Oh,
Great to be here, and great to be here at AI4.
yeah, right. I know. And great job this morning at the keynote.
Thank you. It was really fun opportunity to get up and I think, deliver a slightly different style of talk than maybe the other folks who were giving keynotes this morning. Trying to really focus on some of the first person research that we've done and just try and give a provocative point of view.
Yeah, yeah. To diverge a little bit, like the 96%
Of
stat.
CEOs.
Yeah, can you maybe share that real quick?
Sure. So earlier this year, we did a research. We interviewed 900 CEOs from 8 different countries at fairly large companies, 500 million and above in revenue. And one of the key stats that came out of it, there were a few, but one is that 96% of CEOs believe that their employees are using generative AI without approvals. So that's pretty much all of them, if
Right.
you will.
Right.
I'd be surprised. I'm surprised it's not all of them because I think, as we know, whether it's sanctioned or approved or not, like everybody's doing it, everybody's using it.
But
I thought one of the other interesting stats out of that report is just the way CEOs actually see themselves, that they are under a lot of pressure to deliver on AI results. And I think it was 80% think one of their peers is going to get ousted if there's a failed AI strategy or some kind of AI crisis. And so you might be an individual marketing manager working on something, or you might be the CEO, and we're all under pressure to figure out how to get measurable results from AI.
yeah, definitely. Some interesting research there. So yeah, let's dive in here. And as you mentioned, your experience, you've seen a few shifts in your career, as you mentioned. How is the current demand for what I'll call proof over vision in AI different from, say, early days of cloud or SaaS adoption?
So I've been thinking about that question, and one of the things that I believe is that the fundamentals of marketing are not changing. How you deliver the tools that we have at our disposal is absolutely changing. But I think because SaaS or cloud also was futuristic, it was a new market, it was a new deployment, it was a new business model for us at Salesforce, a new way to buy as well as a new technology. And so I think then today, the way you cut through that is with proof, customer proof, and a community of customers, executives, and sort of practitioners that are passionate, believe in what you're doing, and have actually gotten real ROI out of those solutions. And today it's about building agents, and it starts with efficiency and productivity. But I think ultimately agents and this agentic move is about business outcomes rather than productivity gains necessarily. And that was the same back then. Is like it was really about bringing new products to market, finding customers that would adopt them, tell their story, and turn them into heroes.
Yeah. And I think AI, I'll just say, is a very broad umbrella, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that fit under that. Everything from agents that can, operate end to end to deliver something to many, many other things. How much of that distinction does your marketing actually make? And, does the market reward precision in talking about, different types of AI, or is everybody still just buying this like umbrella basically?
So uh, I think buyers are like the market are maturing and becoming more sophisticated really quickly.
Yeah.
And so I think from our experience at Dataiku is we kind of play in three, on top of this, like bringing people and orchestration and governance together. It's kind of three ways we go to market. One is kind of how do you get control of your data?
Yeah.
Number two is how do you build and get control of your business processes with agents? And then how do you manage agents built on Dataiku and built on any of the other agentic platforms? And so we already see in our go to market, to your point, there's variations. The data world has been machine learning and pipelines
Yeah.
and predictive, and getting your data ready. That still matters a lot. And those buyers, whether it be the chief data officer or data scientists, like you have to have very specific messaging for those types of personas. For the agentic process world or building agents, you may be talking more to the CIO or chief AI officer and their teams in IT, and that's newer, but quickly becoming, I think, less about picking a platform and stack to focusing on business outcomes.
Yeah.
And then on the agentic sprawl, which is here, I believe, it's also more of an IT governance observability. So when you put all that together, what it forces us to do is to be very persona specific in the way that we bring our positioning and messaging. So, and we want to land, we can land in each one of those three areas. So we target the data teams, the AI and CIO teams, and the sort of IT operational teams. But what's interesting is the large enterprises that we sell to, $5 billion plus companies, is the breadth of the buying committee, which actually makes it even more important to be very precise about who we're talking to about what. Um, and so I think it's a result of the shift in the breadth of AI, but also we have a real opportunity to use AI in that marketing to get very specific about targeting, not necessarily building all that content, but at least more sophisticated in knowing that you are someone interested in data or interested in agents or interested in managing or governing those agents.
Yeah. And maybe a parallel, I'll say, trend is just marketing has evolved quite a bit over the last few years. As you know, it was always kind of a marketing wants to do something kind of, I'll just say eye roll, sort of like, what's the data to back that up? Or as data gets better, marketing gets more accurate. And I think marketing is able to prove ROI better, but there's also a lot more pressure on marketing to be closer to things like revenue, to trust, even to product reality. What is, first of all, do you think that's a fair assessment? And where does, where does marketing in your realm like kind of fit within that framework? Like, are you being held to greater results? Are marketers in general being held to greater results just because the data is better and there's more opportunity for the
So
data?
maybe my first comment would be not everybody's data is better just because there's
Fair
AI.
point. Fair
And
point. Yeah.
so I think as we like work with customers like Roche or LVMH or Johnson and Johnson, some of which are in some marketing and sales oriented use cases,
Yeah.
it still goes back to the how good is your data. And
Yeah.
so there's always work to be done. Um, we are a very data centric company, but there are all these systems, right? For CRM, for ABM, for call recording, for. And so I think there's still a real, like, you still have to get your data. I mean, you got to get your data right before you're
Yeah.
going to get real marketing analytics out of it.
Yeah.
But what I think, and maybe this is part of my product marketing background, is I've always believed it needs to be about the business outcome, which is revenue, and it needs to be closer to the product. So I think the way I look at it is I think it's a real opportunity right now because I think that is true as you look at the AI native companies and and all of us that are going through the tech transformation in tech, it's positioning, it's messaging, and I think it's revenue, and some of it's in the product, but the products are more complicated now than I think ever.
Yeah.
And so brand still matters a lot. But I feel very comfortable in my role as CMO at Dataiku that I'm very aligned with our chief revenue officer. I've committed to, what percentage of pipeline we're going to contribute from marketing. And I feel great or fine, maybe not great, but fine
Yeah.
about being held accountable to that. And I think one day as the systems we build in marketing become more sophisticated, I will eventually get to I want to commit to a revenue number, which 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or less, I would never have thought that marketing should connect. Like what I've grown up in the large B2B enterprise software companies, it's, well, product marketing is about pipeline. Um, Sales is about revenue. But I think
Yeah.
those processes and those silos are getting broken down, whether it's by technology or relationship. And I want marketing to be a significant contributor to the business success, not just the marketing success. It starts with brand and pipeline, but I think eventually it's revenue. And I also see my role as part of the Dataiku transformation to drive product innovation. Like some of that's because of my background, but it's really exciting for me to be part of the roadmap and strategy discussions and being an influencer over what we should build. What's the right product market fit for new products that we're going to go take out? And so I love the let's be more revenue or business oriented and let's be more product oriented.
What I'm seeing a lot is just that there's a lot of pressure for CMOs and others to contribute more directly to revenue. But to your point, if the data is not there, there's an expectation that is unmet or unable to be met in the way that maybe a CEO, CFO, COO are expecting. So I mean, all the more reason for companies like Dataiku, I guess, as well to support that, right?
Yeah, and but so yes, and I think what the way I look at that is the way marketing. There's a lot of things we report on in marketing
Yeah.
that stay in marketing,
Right.
rather than things that I would bring up to our executive team of CEO, CFO, or chief revenue
Yeah.
officer. And so I think marketing still has to do a good job of marketing within the company, and it's hard to do when you're caught up in the go to market, the technology, the transformation. But I think we got to apply many of those same principles that we take to marketing to prospects and customers of think about the CEO, think about the CRO, what do they care about? And how do you tell a story that's grounded in data that is aligned to not just what they want to hear, but the things that they want to talk about. So
Yeah.
like leads, for example, I don't think anybody outside of marketing should be talking about leads. I don't want to talk about leads. I want to talk about pipeline,
Right.
stage two, or like quality pipeline. And so similarly with the sales organization, like I don't go to the CRO and say how many leads we generated. I go and talk about the contribution of marketing in whole dollars, but also over the overall pipeline for the company, because I want to be relevant. I want to be over 50% of the pipeline that Dataiku is generating. I want to come from marketing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, from the marketer's perspective, I would imagine a lot of your customers are not necessarily the CMO, but they're probably sitting around. They're at the table, but not necessarily the direct buyer. But I wonder. We have a lot of CMOs, SVPs, marketing listening to this show. What should they be asking? Even if it's somebody else's line item or something like that. Like, what should a CMO be asking when they're talking about some of the services that you offer?
So we actually do have some marketing use cases in our customer base. We actually have a global airline that uses us to optimize route authors. So it's a cargo airline, and they have many data sources sitting on different platforms, and they have built some models to help them prioritize like what to offer one of their customers as an optimized route and at a particular price. And so I think as a marketer, maybe I'll frame it this way: as a chief marketing officer, look who, like most of us, we got all the like CIOs, we got all the tech we need, right? Like a Dataiku, we have Salesforce,
Right,
we
right,
have Sixth Sense, we have Gong, we have things I can't remember right now.
right,
And
right.
for us, I think one of the starting points is that all that data sits in Snowflake. And so what marketers should be asking for is how do we make sure that the data is accurate or is right before you start building agents on top of it. So if you're gonna go build an agent to increase the velocity of your lead process, well, are you sure the signals from Sixth Sense are right? Are you even harder is your lead and opportunity data in your CRM clean and accurate? So even though what we do on top of it is so much more sophisticated, I think the core is still, do you have trusted data that you're then going to build on? Because if you don't, your agents are just going to deliver like it's the same thing as it always was for reports or dashboards, like garbage in and garbage out. Now it just happens much faster and at scale, and like these agents take action, right? Very different to putting that data in a spreadsheet where the worst thing that could happen is maybe a miscalculation. But now these agents take action. And so I also believe governance is super important. Um, Even for a marketing team, that which we're trying to do at Data IQ, is I want all of my marketers to build agents. but I want them to do it in a way that is governed and safe. And so we've actually built a very simple 3-tier governance model, basically gold, silver, and bronze. Bronze agents are things you go into Dataiku. You have some agent building capabilities, natural language. What do you want to create a writing assistant, or you want to create a simple digital twin to test your messaging, or you want to write better press releases. Some of it is, and some are more process oriented. They are empowered to go build those. And then we have a council in marketing to say, okay, some of those bronze, we might want the marketing analytics team and our AI engineering team to take over, but they're still really marketing oriented. And so there's like this middle tier. But then the gold are the ones that have real broad, multi departmental business impact. So for us, like the gold agents that we're working on now are really about building a new campaign operating model. We are very account based in our go to market. So how do we use signals? How do we optimize our digital spend based on signals of who's showing interest? But then how do we also make sure the campaigns get built with not just basic briefs, but helping us build some of the artifacts that you would need to go and run a campaign? And that is touches lots of different systems. It writes to Salesforce, it writes to 6sense, it generates content. So that is something we put in the gold level that requires like IT or full AI engineering support to go and build. But it's all built on Dataiku. And it's all part of getting the marketers to be literate, but also to have AI or marketing have a real business impact. Like, I don't want to automate stuff with AI just to automate stuff. I want to deliver more pipeline, faster, cheaper, better. I know it's a little cliche, but like those are the things that are driving the things that my priorities right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Well, Mark, thanks so much for joining. Two last questions for you as we wrap up here. So if when we're back at AI4 next year, if we were having this conversation then, what is one thing we would definitely be talking about?
So I did a keynote this morning, as you know, with one of my colleagues at Dataiku. And one of the core premises was everywhere you go, including here at AI4, but podcasts and other keynotes, is you hear people talking about agents as a workforce. And so one of the things we sort of explored here today was, well, what happens when you take that to its natural conclusion? And that natural conclusion is if agents are a workforce, we should treat them like labor. And when you treat them like labor, that means they are sort of funded by the business. They are hired by the business. They are reviewed. They are evaluated. They are fired potentially by the business. Right. And so I think that next year at AI4, we're going to see agents on org charts for real, and that they will be not that there will be less people on the org chart, but I think it's going to expand the capabilities in marketing in particular, but also in lots of other parts of the company, that you will start to see Workday or the HR management systems will have to come up with a new component or a new construct, which is, how do I evaluate? How do I review? How do I manage my agents like I manage my people?
Yeah, love it. Well, last question for you. What do you do to stay agile in your role, and how do you find a way to do it consistently?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I think it's part of outside of work. So I think exercise is really important. So that is an unlock for me to find time to have the brain turn off and actually just focus on not family, not work, but the moment at hand, which gives some refresh, if you will. And then so that requires commitment. But then it creates headspace to think about what's next, and allocate time every week to do some non-tactical, some bigger thinking.
Yeah.
And I also think being hands-on with these tools is really important. And so, is there something to vibe code? Is there something to explore? How do you find time to build some things with Claude Code? And for me, those things go together of you need to take a break. And for me, a lot of that is exercise or travel to free up space in your head to go and apply it outside of the day-to-day things that we're all wrapped up in.
Yeah, love it. Well, again, I'd like to thank Mark Abramowitz, Chief Marketing Officer at Dataiku, for joining the show. You can learn more about Mark and Dataiku by following the links in the show notes.
This episode is brought to you by TechSystems. They're leaders in full-stack tech services, talent solutions, and helping companies put it all in action. You can learn more at techsystems.com. That's teksystems.com. And thanks again for listening to the Agile Brand Podcast. If you like the episode, hit subscribe and drop a rating so others can find the show too. And if you're interested in consulting, advisory work, or if you need a speaker for your next event, feel free to reach out. Just visit gregkihlstrom.com. That's GregKihlstrom.com. The Agile Brand is produced by Missing Link, a Latina-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, they craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Until next time, stay curious and stay agile.
The Agile Brand.